heard what you have to say, what you don't have to say, and I think it's time that we vote you out. Vote her out. Vote her out. Vote her out.
You know, guys, it's been quite a while since we've been able to do one of these town hall videos, but that's only because Republicans are just not doing that many town halls. But during that week when I was moving, somebody who said that she would only do town halls if hell were to freeze over, well, she decided that she was actually going to meet with her constituents. Now, the funny part about Mariannette Miller-Meeks, or whatever her name is, from the 1st Congressional District of Iowa, is that she only won her re-election bid by 798 votes. And for somebody who won by such a narrow margin to show such contempt for her own voters, it's just quite perplexing to me. And if you think that her words were just got twisted by the mainstream media, you would be wrong, because here she is on a hot mic saying exactly that.
They have had fake town halls all over. Even now, Barton is Cedar Rapids Gazette. When's Miller-Meeks going to hold the town hall? When hell freezes over. I don't have to hold a town hall so you can come and yell at me.
Yeah, guys, she doesn't need to come do a town hall so all of her constituents can yell at her. Now, maybe she should have taken her own advice, because this town hall that she just did in the early weeks of November, it did not go particularly well for her. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that town hall, and we're going to go ahead and start off with this clip where she is trying to tell people that they are going to receive the largest tax return that they have ever received. If you guys do appreciate my work and want to support the show, please do remember to subscribe.
And we've done part of that through the Working Families Tax Cut and making sure, and I think that I've read that next year that people will get some of the largest refunds that they've had. So passing those tax cuts, which go primarily to low and middle income families. As we know, energy is 60% of food, so that will help to food.
Yeah, so Iowa's in a recession, as you could hear somebody in the crowd yell out. It is one of the most frustrating things about these Republican town halls is they get up there and they just want to preach to their constituents. They want to tell you what is going on with your state or your city or your country, when people can look around and see that the farmers in Iowa are not doing that great right now. Iowa itself is heading into a recession. Many other parts of the economy are also not doing very good. So it's quite patronizing for her to go up on stage and say, hey, you best be appreciative that you're going to get the biggest tax return that you've ever seen. Now, then somebody gets thrown out of the town hall, I think because he was asking about how she could let SNAP benefits just disappear.
We passed a continuing resolution to make sure that the government was funded, which includes funding for SNAP. So as we continue to pass a continuing resolution, we're not even allowed to ask real questions. So we are told to write them down and get questions.
Yeah, so as you guys know, the government was shut down. The Democrats were trying to win on the healthcare subsidies thing. As part of that shutdown, SNAP benefits were suspended, and then the Trump administration decided that they weren't going to use contingency funding to fund the SNAP program. And it was an absolute disaster. People went without food. People weren't able to access the SNAP benefits that they rely on. And Republicans are partly to blame for that, especially Donald Trump and his administration. So these people are absolutely correct to call her out on that. Now, the next thing she tries to tell people is that, well, they had to kick the illegal immigrants off of Medicaid, except then she gets laughed at. Then she gets laughed at.
We also prohibited illegal aliens from being on Medicaid. I'm sorry, all you have to look at Gavin Newsom when we put those requirements in. Gavin Newsom saying that they could no longer fund illegal immigrants getting Medicaid.
Why is a congresswoman from Iowa talking about what Gavin Newsom is doing in California? And this whole argument that they just needed to get all of the undocumented immigrants off of Medicaid, it's all a farce. It's all bullshit. Undocumented immigrants are unable to access the Medicaid program. And the only way that they can touch those dollars at all is if they show up at an emergency room and then Medicaid reimburse that hospital. That accounts for 0.4% of Medicaid funding. These people would honestly have you live in a world where you had to prove your citizenship before being treated in the emergency room. It is absolutely insane. Then you had somebody get pretty excited or pretty upset, I guess you would say, about who is running our government right now.
Have amendments that both sides of the aisle.
Are we letting a pedophile run the country?
So obviously they are talking about Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump in particular, there hasn't been hard evidence that he actually is a pedophile. But there is, I mean, the vibes around this whole Epstein files things, the evidence that continues to get kind of trickle released as time goes on does not look good for Donald Trump. Now, do we have a smoking gun to say that he was, diddling, young kids? We do not have anything like that. But if you're talking about the Epstein files and was Donald Trump complicit in some of the shady shit that was going on there, of course, we would have to say that that is likely to be true. And then somebody also goes on about those Epstein files.
So I fully support releasing the Epstein files. I have always supported releasing the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. But I think what's being lost in this conversation is, number one, that the Biden administration has had the Epstein files before. Most importantly, I think I already answered the question that I.
These people are just so damn pathetic. They cannot go 2 minutes without trying to blame Biden and his administration for something. First of all, Ghislaine Maxwell was being prosecuted under the Biden administration, which means there was an ongoing investigation and prosecution of somebody who was tied up in the Epstein files, which means he wouldn't have been able to release the Epstein files even if he wanted to. And it wasn't Biden who was running on the idea that he was going to release those files. That was Donald Trump. And ever since we found out that Donald Trump is more implicated than anybody once thought, Donald Trump has been fighting tooth and nail to make sure that these Epstein files are not released. That is what is going on in this administration, and people are absolutely correct to be upset about that. She then goes on to try to blame Biden for the high cost of farming inputs.
It's killing us on the farm. The price of soybeans is below production costs, and corn too. Why are we supporting Argentina?
First and foremost, farmers are suffering from high input costs, which occurred when we had record high inflation under the Biden administration. CPI went up to 9%. The farm economy has, I speak with farmers very routinely. I meet them on their farm, and farmers have told me about the egregious trade practices.
I mean, can you believe these people? Yes, inflation spiked under Joe Biden, but that is because there was a global response to a worldwide pandemic. Yes, inflation spiked, and then Jerome Powell and the Biden administration were able to bring it in for that soft landing that economists didn't even think was possible. When they handed over the economy to Donald Trump, inflation was sitting at about 3%, and it was still trending downward. And it continued to trend downward for a couple months until Donald Trump decided that he was going to implement these unilateral the unilateral tariffs with these across the board with all of our different trading partners, essentially. And then we started to see inflation go back up. Now, the whole farming thing, yes, farmers are struggling right now. Donald Trump decided he was going to start these, trade wars with some of our allies, even some of our adversaries. And so the farmers are getting absolutely crushed right now. But it is a multifaceted issue. There's consolidation on the corporate level as far as where farmers get their seeds from. Yes, they are having a good yield this season, I believe, because the weather was pretty favorable. But with these tariffs in place, not only does that increase your input costs, but that also makes you uncompetitive on the global markets. So now you've got farmers who are used to having these markets that they can sell into, and with the tariffs, they are now playing at a disadvantage because Donald Trump has no idea what the hell he is doing. So to sit up there on stage and try to blame Biden for high input costs years after inflation spiked at 9%, I mean, the people are just getting tired of it. As you can see here, they were not having all of this bullshit. I'm just so sick of these Republicans trying to blame every single thing that they can on the Biden administration without ever taking accountability for what Donald Trump and his administration is doing to this economy. It is absolutely pathetic. Somebody goes on to ask whether or not it's right for ICE to be taking citizens off the street and profiling brown folks.
First and foremost, we've had 10 million people come through our borders. We've had 1.7 million known gotaways.
Yes or no question?
We've had within cartels, within gang members, and so the American people, when they elected President Trump,
just imagine being a congresswoman and you're being asked whether or not ICE should be rounding up U.S. citizens without any due process at all, and then additionally profiling brown people to be rounded up off the streets without any due process at all, shoved into an unmarked car and kidnapped and then sent to countries where they have never been to before. And all you can say is, well, under the Biden administration, you see, we had a whole bunch of people come over the border because he had open borders, and we had 1.8 million gotaways. Does that make it right for ICE to be snatching people off the streets? Does that make it right for them to be racially profiling folks? Does that make it right to see people speaking Spanish and working certain jobs and then harassing those people? Is that okay just because many people came across the border under the Biden administration? What the fuck are you talking about? This is in no way an acceptable answer for what ICE is doing right now. They are Donald Trump's secret police. They are a fascist institution, and they should be abolished as soon as we possibly can. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for that one. And the last video that I want to show you, she just gets booed off stage as she tries to end the event. I mean, this is just glorious, guys.
we're going to thank all of you all for being here. We're going to thank
This is the person who said that she wasn't going to do any town halls until hell freezed over. Because she didn't need to show up to these town halls to get yelled at by her constituents. So maybe she was correct in her assessment that her constituents are pissed off for what the Republicans are currently doing in Congress right now. But guess what, asshole? This is the job you signed up for. This is a democracy. You are a representative for the people of the 1st Congressional District in Iowa. It is your job to come do these town halls and represent the will of those voters. So if you don't want to show up for these town halls because you are getting shouted down because you guys are fucking up so horrendously in Congress, well then maybe you should get the fuck out. Maybe you should resign from Congress. These people are so damn pathetic. And as we have seen, like, I guess across the entire summer, every time a Republican ventures out to do these town halls, they are getting slapped in the face by angry constituents. People are looking around at this country and realizing that Donald Trump, his administration, and the enabling Republicans are fucking up this country. And they have every right to show up with their congressional representative to chew them out. And that is exactly what this crowd did. So I just absolutely love to see it. I'm not even going to give credit to Mariannette Miller-Meeks or whatever her name is for coming out to do her town hall because she has shown such a contempt for her own constituents. But I give a pat on the back to all of these voters that showed up to chew her head off. That is exactly what a democracy is supposed to look like. Sometimes it gets messy, sometimes it gets loud, sometimes people shout, and guess what, Miller-Meeks? Sometimes people are pissed off because your party is fucking up like we haven't seen before. So, I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We are building something here on the left that pushes back against this MAGA media machine that just launders all of this Republican nonsense every single day. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. Of course, that is free. If you guys want to go a step above and beyond that, you can actually help me produce these videos by becoming a member right here on YouTube for as little as $3 a month. Or you can head over to politiscape.substack.com where you can have my content delivered directly to your inbox every single day without the doom scrolling, without the algorithms. And the cool part about Substack is I own the data over there, so signing up over there is a huge, huge win for me. And as I will continue to remind everybody, we are about a month out from the Unfuck America Tour's big event down in Phoenix on December 20th, and I could use all the help I could get to raise a little bit of money to get myself down to that event. So if you hit that link in my bio, you can not only sign up to volunteer if you're a little bit short on cash and want to help out the movement, but you can also sign up to donate, whether you got $2, $10, or $50. Every little bit helps. And as I will continue to say, guys, it has got to be a team effort as we continue the fight against this authoritarian regime. And thirdly, guys, if you use that link in my bio, you can also purchase tickets to that event in Phoenix on December 20th. It's going to be one hell of a time. We are very excited about that. And like I said, I just need to raise a little bit of money so I can get myself down there to meet all of you guys who want to partake in this event. So until the next one, guys, everybody keep that chin up and let's put in that work today so we are cleaning house in the midterms tomorrow. I'll see you on the next one.